Hey, I'm Brian Kohn of Kohn Knives, and I make sharp things. I'm a knife maker, so I make complete custom knives. I go from starting with a hunk of metal and making it into the finished product. So I got into knife making by just watching a bunch of knife making YouTube videos and just watching a whole bunch of them at a time. So I happened to have a coworker that, was watching pretty much the same videos that I was. He was just right into them just as much as me. So we decided on a weekend to just, jump onto his porch, buy a couple of Nicholson files and make some knife-shaped objects. And they were just knife-shaped objects. They were rough. Basically what we did is we just threw designs on these Nicholson files, cut them to shape on that bench grinder, sharpened them up the best we could, and that was what we had. And so these things were just terrible. But we loved them so much, we're so proud of making them that, we were taking them to work and using them as our work knives because, we made this. We came up with that design and we cut it out and we made it. And we just loved that stuff. So coming up with that design, cutting it out and making that knife just ignited a passion that I've just never felt about anything before. It was like a drug to me. So moving from my buddy's porch, I moved to my own porch. And I just had a card table, a little itty bitty vise, and I went to Harbor Freight and bought a 1x30, 1/3 horsepower motor belt grinder. And that thing, it was a lot better than when I was working on my buddy's porch, but it was a big step up just to be onto a real belt grinder. Real belt grinder. So I would just spend all my days off of work just working on little itty bitty knives because I was making knives that were, only a couple inches long because that's all you could do on such a small belt grinder. And I would spend all day outside in the sun working on these little knives. From there, I spent years on that porch just, making all the mistakes and watching videos and learning from that and gaining more tools and gaining more knowledge and gaining more, experience. Finally, I moved away from that little college apartment and I moved back home with my family and met a knife maker at my hometown who allowed me into a shop and showed me what it looked like to actually be a real knife maker. That was just, opened my eyes to everything. It really made me realize that knife making could be something that I could actually pursue as a career instead of just a hobby. From there, I moved out here to Auburn, Michigan, near Midland. I moved from that back porch to this shed, and yes, it's a small shed and it doesn't have air conditioning or heat or insulation. So in the summertime right now, it's super hot. In the winter, it's super, super cold. But I'm out here anyways, just because that's what my passion is. I want to be out here making those knives. So I went from that patio to this shop and it was a big step up. I went from that 1x30 up to a 2x72. It's a big step up. It's made me make better knives, bigger knives. So I went from these, 2-3 inch nano neck knives all the way up to now I've made a few chef knives. And it's just every single time it's a step in the right direction. I'm moving up, I'm getting better as a knife maker, and it's just giving me more opportunity to make better knives. It's crazy to look back 4 years ago when I was just a fan of the knife community. I was watching Simple Little Life, Alex Steele, Knife Talk podcast. I was watching Brian House. I was just a fan then. Now I have Kohn Knives. I have my own shop, and now I'm a part of the community I was just a fan of 4 years ago. My goal with Kohn Knives is to make a custom tailored knife for our customers that is built well enough to be passed on through the generations. So one of the strengths of Kohn Knives is the customer service. I like to bring my client along for the ride. At the beginning, we'll come up with a design together. I'll take a picture and I'll send it to them. Next, we'll figure out what materials we like. I'll take a picture of those materials and send it to them so that by the end of them, they've really been a part of the knife making process. My name is Brian Kohn of Kohn Knives. Find me on Facebook and on Instagram. If you would like a knife made, send me a DM. I'd love to talk to you.